Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle. I am your host, Colette Darville, cultivating our body's resilience and inner silence and its application to all aspects of your life. Let's become enlightened and enjoy the power of intuitiveness and creativity. You are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Colette Darville, and this is Yin Yoga Lifestyle. So now let us take a deep meditative breath. Inhale, so, and exhale, hum. Shannon Smadella at shannonsmadella.com is a Yogic Sciences Educator, international master teacher, life wellness coach, and personality. She has toured the world as a coach, author, and speaker. She is a Yoga Alliance 500-hour certified teacher and a Chopra Center meditation instructor. With over 8,000 hours of teaching and 12 years of experience, she holds space for transformation in various classes, workshops, and trainings around the world. She has over 15 years of experience in life wellness coaching and has worked with thousands of clients. Shannon also has an extensive 20-year background in business and consulting and has worked with many major corporations. She has written for multiple publications and also starred in 2 movies. Her teachers include Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, Sadhguru, Kryota Wilberg, Carl Straub, Rodney and Colleen Yee, Sean Korn, David Newman, and Morama. Shannon lives and works in Vancouver, Canada, but she does dot around Canada, so you never know where she's going to be, teaching, workshops, doing whatever she needs to do to make this world a better place. And if all those accomplishments were not enough, Shannon was a former Miss Canada. So we have incredible beauty and incredible brains combined in one person. And welcome back to Yin Yoga Lifestyle, Shannon.
Thanks so much, Colette. It's so great to be back here.
Now, I know we've spoken before, but we were speaking on another previous podcast about some of the things you were involved in. But I want to have this podcast about you. And how did you discover yoga and the practice of holistic therapies?
Absolutely. That's a really good question. I know that holistic therapies and yoga are definitely a part of my dharma or life purpose. So you could probably say that it was divine intervention. And it's funny because I've been told in some readings that I've lived in India in previous lifetimes. So, it's really hard to say. But in this 3D consciousness we're in, this world that we're living in, yoga, I guess you could say literally dropped into my lap at work one day. Okay. My coworker came by and she dropped a pamphlet in my lap for a teacher training. And She said, I don't know why, but I think you'd be interested in this.
Wow.
And at that point, I was already interested in things like Reiki and homeopathy and spiritual counseling, acupuncture, you name it, anything that was working with energy. I was already in it, probably since the age of 17 or so. So in regard to yoga, which first started out as asana, I didn't even really think. I was like, yeah, of course I need to sign up for this. Of course I have to take this. Didn't really know why, but it was just like something that, you feel, I have to do this.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what I was in store for.
A real life-changing,
absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. That was way back in 2007, and the rest is history.
Wow. And you kind of, your higher self kind of said, okay, Shannon, this is where you need to go, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just following that, trusting that intuition and the gut there for sure.
So how have you personally benefited from practicing these natural therapies? And can you maybe give us a few examples of what has successfully worked for you and which you would recommend, and sort of describing the therapies to our listeners?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. So there would be a couple things here. First, for me, I don't necessarily look at them as therapies necessarily, but as ways of life, I guess you could say. And in that, I think that's completely how I look at yoga, as a way of life. And if we look at the eightfold path from Patanjali, we
Hmm.
start with the yamas and the niyamas.
Yep.
And that's a really good way on how to be in the world. So just using those on how to be in the world, don't hurt anyone, be honest, be truthful,
Right.
practice purity, all things that we should be doing anyway. But, just following those and remembering in everything that we do, we're not harming anyone in our words, actions, even in our thoughts, we're not harming anyone, especially ourselves. And just bringing a few of those into one's life, one can definitely benefit. In regards to the other 7 limbs, the asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, I practice those daily.
Mm.
With the exception of samadhi, I'm not sitting in samadhi every day. I still need to be in the world. So.
Yes, yes. Is samadhi being enlightened and floating away? We don't want that yet.
Yeah, exactly. But I could say that my life would definitely not be the same if I didn't have these practices in them or do them. And in regards to the other tools like Reiki and accessing the Akashic records and prayer, in the form of invocations and affirmations, I do something called Bhuta Shuddhi, which is a balancing of the elements, Ayurveda, and then grounding, using certain energy forms that are consecrated, and so on. It really just depends what's on needed that day.
Right.
But I guess the most important thing in all of that, I wouldn't be able to offer any kind of teaching, therapy, technology, tool, lifestyle, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
recommendation, if I haven't first benefited from it. So I know, some might not have that same view, but I
Right.
really believe that when we see firsthand how these technologies can impact our lives, we're really in it with all of our heart when we're
Yeah.
offering them
Yeah.
to other people, because we're saying, hey, I went through this. I tried this. It worked. I can show you what it is or how to do it. And
Right.
there's more heart behind it. There's more soul behind it, because it's something that we've seen that has like saved our life, or saved us from a serious illness or whatever it might be. So
So
everything I offer has been something I've used that has worked profoundly.
did this ultimately help you decide that you wanted to make a career helping people by offering holistic and natural therapies? What was behind that for you?
um well, that's a really good question too, because I don't think I ever really made a decision to make it a career of helping people.
But it is.
Yeah, it is. And I didn't, I didn't. I remember when I was a little girl, I had dreamed of being an actress, and then
Oh,
I think it was like I wanted to go into science and be a doctor. Never did I say when I grew up I want to be a healer, or I want to help
right.
people realize the power they have to heal themselves, right? Um, I remember coming fresh out of my first yoga teacher training saying, I'm never going to charge for yoga ever. And I've probably given away more complimentary yoga than I've actually charged for in the past year,
Right.
or the past 12 years. But the thing is it's with yoga, Reiki, energy work, there actually has to be an exchange of energy. So, and this is like so important. People need to understand. People need to give back for what they receive, and in order to fully appreciate what is given to them. So, as a teacher, a practitioner, healer, you're giving your energy. It's so important to have that exchange, even if it's a trade. It doesn't always necessarily need to be in the form of money, but in regards to career, I've always had to keep, like, I guess you could say, a day job.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I've always been in business for probably like the past 20 years, I guess you could say, consulting people and coaching and working in finance and all that. And then doing the yoga as like a helping, something that could help people, because I've always just either given it for trade or, tried to give it for the lowest price that I could.
Yeah.
But to really answer your question, what made me decide to continue helping people? It started with staying after class. First it was 10 minutes, and then it ends up being an hour, and then it ends up being 2 hours. And, there's students that stay and they have questions, they ask about the chakras and, about energy and how do I do this pose and that. And it kind of just morphs into something even larger and even bigger. And in all of my time teaching, training teachers, that's been so valuable, that time after class where people stay, and it ended up turning into, okay, let's book another time and you can come into my office and we'll talk about this. We'll go through a process, and it kind of just turns into that. From, I'm sure every yoga teacher out there, has had that experience. So
Yeah. I think, and it's very interesting because, what you give out, you get back. And on your site, you offer courses and classes and workshops for issues people sort of may be dealing with, whatever that is. Um, so could you tell us a little about the different options that you have available? And people, by all means, can go onto your site, but it's kind of nice for you to sort of talk about some of the courses that you have that you feel would make a big difference to people's lives, especially now. We're locked in with the COVID, and and just in general.
Absolutely. Well, since I've been teaching for quite a while now, I've probably given hundreds of workshops. I don't know, it could even be in the thousands. And so, all of those are in the file vault. And
Right.
I've recently put a few of these online. And I started out with the ones that have benefited me the most. And the first one I put up was the Yoga Nidra course, just because it's so profound in rewiring the subconscious mind. So going deep and working with those deep-rooted traumas that we have, and we can call them, karmas, samskaras, and working with releasing them and bringing them up. And it's profoundly helped me in my own healing journey. So that was the first one that I had to get out there and put online. And slowly more are being put up there. But there's so many different workshops. And I thought, why not have this with COVID, especially, everyone is in their home. Yoga Nidra is something they can do in their home. They can access it online. So there's a few recordings on there that people can go and use, and they're guided, and just something they can use, especially during this time, to release that stress and that fear and that anxiety that the whole world is going through right now, because we're not really sure what's happening.
Right.
We just have to trust on that the best result is going to come out. So the Yoga Nidra is on there. And then I just released also a meditation course that's on there as well. And it's not meditation in the way that most people would think of meditation, because when I teach meditation, I don't teach how to, sit down, close your eyes. That's all in there.
Yeah.
But the goal is to become meditative. So to be always in that state, or to bring yourself into a state where you reach meditation. So not something you do, but something you are. So there's tools and technologies built into that to bring someone up to that state of dhyana, of meditation there. And then there's, pranayama. There's some courses on, having a sacred space, doing ceremony. A lot of my practices and teachings are rooted in Tantra.